Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concepts of derivatives. So as per the problem, given the following results of the analysis of a function, sketch a possible graph for the function. So we have to sketch a graph for part A and part B. So let's start with part A. So we are given that f at 0 is equal to 0. So that's a point that lies on the graph of part A. So that point is 0, comma 0. Next we are given that there is a horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. So the horizontal asymptote is y. So we can write down all the information like this so that we know what we have to show in the sketch of the function. The vertical asymptote is x equals 3. So the vertical asymptote is, and the first derivative of the function is less than 0 and the second derivative of the function is less than 0 for x is less than 3. So that means to the left side of x equals 3, the function is decreasing because prime of f at x is less than 0, and the function is concave down because the second derivative is less than 0. So we can write down these things as our observations. So that means the function is decreasing and if the second derivative is less than 0, that means the graph is concave down. And these behavior are for x less than 3. Now after that, the first derivative is is less than 0 and second derivative is greater than 0 for x greater than 3. So we can write down, so prime of x is less than 0. So if the first derivative is less than 0, that means the function is decreasing. And the second derivative is greater than 0. That means the function is concave up. So this is for interval x is greater than 3. Now we can sketch this function. So we'll start by showing the given point. So the given point is 0, 0, the origin. So that's here. So we'll use the first grid. So that's this red dot. And now we can show the horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. So that's over here. And then the vertical asymptote is at 3. Now to the left side of x equals 3, where x is less than 3, the function is decreasing and concave down. So now these two asymptotes, they divide the grid into 4 quadrants. So now in the left bottom quadrant lies the given point 0, 0. So that means in that quadrant where x is less than 3, the function is decreasing and concave down. So we can sketch our function like this under the horizontal asymptote. So along this curve, as we go from left to right, the curve is sloping downward. That means it's decreasing, and we can see that the curve is concave down because it's making a frowny face. Now to the right side of x equals 3, that is to the right side of the vertical asymptote, the function is decreasing and concave up. So now we can sketch this part of this function in the top right quadrant made by the asymptotes. So we can sketch the curve like this. So as you can see, this curve is sloping downward from left to right. So that means it's a decreasing curve, and it's concave up because it's making a smiley face. So this should be the sketch of the function in part A. Now we can analyze part B. So in part B, we are given that f at 0 is equal to 6. So that's a point that lies on the function, and the point is 0, 6. And we are given that f at negative 2 is equal to 0. So that's another point that lies on the function. The horizontal asymptote is at y equals 7. And the vertical asymptote is at x equals negative 4. And the first derivative is greater than 0, and the second derivative is greater than 0 for x less than negative 4. So when the first derivative is greater than 0, that means the function is increasing. And when the second derivative is greater than 0, that means the curve is concave up. And this is for x is less than negative 4. Now after that, the first derivative is greater than 0 and the second derivative is less than 0 for x is greater than negative 4. So the first derivative is greater than 0, that means the function is increasing. And the second derivative is less than 0. That means the curve is concave down. For x is x is greater than negative 4. Now we can use all of this information to sketch the function. So we'll start with the given points. So the first point is 0, 6, so that's here. And the other point is negative 2, 0, so that's here. The horizontal asymptote is at 7, so that's here. And the vertical asymptote is at negative 4. Right, so that's here. Now we can sketch the function. We can start with the left side of x is equal to negative 4. So as you can see, these two asymptotes, they divide the grid into 4 parts or 4 quadrants. So to the left side of x is negative 4, the function is increasing and concave up. So that means we have to show the curve on the top left grid made by the asymptotes. So we can show the curve increasing, so going up like this. And concave up. So the curve is making a smiley face. Now to the right side of x equals -4, the function is increasing but concave down. So that means as we go from left to right, the function value should increase, but it should be concave down. Now on the right side of x equals -4, we have the two given points. So that means the curve lies in the bottom right quadrant made by the asymptote. So we can show the curve like this. So we can show like this. So just so this is the curve to the right side of x equals -4. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.